Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the thumbs up, and it's time for us to begin our meeting. Let me make this comment before I ask for our invocation and our pledge. This meeting on the 18th actually is a special call meeting because technically we meet the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month. When we do not meet on the second and fourth, any other meeting is deemed by law a special called meeting. So we will not have the meeting next Tuesday. There are several things that will be scheduled conflicts, and so I'm appreciative that you were willing and able to put this into your calendars. I know that it was difficult for some, perhaps. This time, let's see here. We'll have the invocation by the former pastor of First Baptist Church. Bypass. Bill Ford, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it. Will you pray with me? Father, in such a hectic world where life goes by so very quickly, and we move from one thing to another, and we come to the end of the evening and we sleep and we get up and we do the same thing the next day, it's nice to be able to pause and to breathe and to give thanks to you for all of our blessings. And the Bible is absolutely correct when it says every good and perfect gift is from above. I thank you for this body that is before us, for the work that they do and the time that they spend. And they're people just like all the rest of us. And they have needs, and they have hurts, and they have difficulties, and they have pain, and they have celebration, and they have all of those things. So, God, we pray that we would be cognizant of all the things that they feel and all the things that they go through, and that we would pray a special blessing on them. God, we thank you for this community and all that it means to us. It is wonderful to be a part of this place, and we pray that we would never take it for granted, because it is indeed a special place. Now, thank you for your guidance and your goodness, and we thank you for a peace that passes all understanding. And it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, sir. We're honored to have a local scout with us to lead the Pledge of Pledge of Allegiance. I hope that's not a sign. Mr. Nathan Green is a student at Madison Central High School, where he will begin his junior year this fall. Nathan has been active in scouting for 8 years. In addition to scouting, Nathan is a member of the award-winning Madison Central Marching Band. Thank you, Nathan, for leading our Pledge of Allegiance. Please proceed.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, Nathan, would you like to tell us anything about where you are at this point in scouting and perhaps what the next year or so shall present to you?
Currently, it is believed that if I work at it very well, I should be able to complete my Eagle Scout before I turn 17.
Outstanding.
What's your service project?
I have not decided yet, but I have had many proposals given to me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for coming tonight, leading us in the pledge. It gives us hope. It gives us hope.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks.
Who came with you tonight?
This would be my mother, and this is Mr. Hurt, one of our committee members within the troop.
She looks familiar.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks. And when I say that, I mean that very sincerely, because if we pay attention to what screams loud in the media and all those things these days, it might cause one to wonder. But when we have young people like you who come, do what you do, and have the ambitions, aspirations that you do, gives us hope. Thank you. one of the requirements there, in fact, in America's Promise is loving and caring adults, and we have those also who are here tonight. We have in our packet the minutes. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. Commissioner Goebel, Commissioner Newby,
Here.
Commissioner Brewer,
Here.
Commissioner Cole. Here. Mayor Blythe.
Here, thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. We have in our packet the minutes from the regular meeting of May 28 and the regular meeting of June 11. If you had a chance to review those, may we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for approval?
I move.
Commissioner Newby
Second.
and Commissioner Cole. Is there any discussion of either of those? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole.
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 24-11, an ordinance of the City of Richmond adopting the annual budget for the City of Richmond for the fiscal year 2025, estimating revenues and resources, and appropriating funds for the operations of city government. This is a second reading. Tonight, we will vote to approve. Mr. City Manager and Madam Finance Director, please.
Mayor, board members, I will have Sharon read the ordinance and then answer any questions.
All righty. Good evening, Sharon.
I blew it up just a little bit. Whereas a budget proposal has been prepared and delivered to the City Commission, and whereas the City Commission has reviewed the budget proposal and necessary modifications have been completed as recommended, now therefore be it ordained by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2024, and ending June the 30th, 2025, is hereby presented as follows. And our resources available in the general fund, our estimated fund balance carried forward is $24 million. Locally generated revenue is $40,391,700. State and federal funds is $671,000. Our total resources for appropriation is $65,062,700. Our appropriations are $51,822,499, with a total estimated balance as of 6/30 of 25 of $13,240,201. In our contingency reserve fund, our balance forward is $23,220,047. Our revenue is $3,700,000. Total resources for appropriation is $26,920,047, and there is no appropriations. Our expected end balance is $26,920,047. In our stormwater bond, our balance forward is $100,000. Our revenue is $337,200. Our total resources for appropriation is $437,200. Our appropriations are $400,000, and our total estimated balance is $37,200. In our Irving McDowell Fund, our balance forward is $275,000. Revenue is $35,000. Total resources for appropriation is $310,000. Appropriations are $250,000. Ending balance is $60,000. In our municipal aid program, our balance forward is $150,000. Our state and federal funds revenue is $737,200. Total resources for appropriation is $887,200. Our appropriations are $835,000, with our balance ending of $52,200. In our federal funds, our balance forward is $65,000. That is also our total resources for appropriation. Our appropriations are $40,000 with an ending balance of $25,000. In our capital projects fund, our balance forward is $5,500,000. Our revenue is $2,115,269. Our state and federal funds revenue is $450,000 with a total resources for appropriation of $8,065,269. Our appropriations are $3,686,338 with an ending balance of $4,378,931. In our self-funded health insurance, our balance forward is $600,000. Our revenue is $2,841,598. Total resources for appropriation is $3,441,598. Our appropriations are $2,841,598,000 with ending balance of $600,000. In our workers' compensation fund, our balance forward is $1,861,175. Our locally generated revenue is $700,000 with total appropriations of $2,561,175. Appropriations are $500,000 with an ending balance of $2,061,175. In our opera fund, our balance forward is $2,431,211, which is also our amount for our resources available for appropriations. Our appropriations are $2,413,721, leaving us a balance of $17,490. In our police and fire pension fund, our balance forward is $308,400. Income is $1,500. Total resources for appropriation, $309,900. Appropriations is $18,983,000 with an ending balance of $290,917. In our CDBG fund, our balance forward is $109. Our income is $200,000. Total resources for appropriation of $200,109. Appropriations is $200,000, leaving an ending balance of $109. In our LLEBG fund, the balance forward is $7,000. Income revenue is $470,000, leaving our total resources for appropriation of $157,000, and our ending balance is, our appropriations is $470,000, and leaving an ending balance as of June the 30th, 2025, of $7,000. In our state funds, our balance forward is $593,000. Income is $15,000, leaving total resources for appropriation of $608,000. Appropriations are $350,000, leaving an ending balance of $258,000. In the Goggins Park fund, our balance forward is $8,261,000. $40 million is our revenue expected, and our expenditures $40,000, leaving us an ending balance of $8,261,000. In our debt service, there is no balance forward, but our revenue, which is a transfer from the general fund, is $3,215,623. We expect to appropriate that amount, leaving an ending balance of $0. In our opioid account, our balance forward is $477,785,000, and our total resources for appropriation is $300,000, leaving our income is $300,000, leaving total appropriation resources for appropriation of $777,785. Our appropriations are $200,000 with our ending balance of $577,785. Our TIF downtown, our balance forward is $200,000 with income of $75,000, leaving total resources for appropriation of $275,000. We do not expect to have any appropriations, and our estimated ending balance as of 6/30/25 is $275,000. In the tourism, the balance forward is $135,000, and the revenues are $948,614, leaving a total resources for appropriation of $1,083,614. The total appropriations is $679,050, leaving an ending balance of $404,564. The 2025 fiscal year budget is hereby approved as submitted. The amounts budgeted above are hereby appropriated to the accounts indicated for the 2025 fiscal year budget. The city clerk is hereby directed to publish a copy of the fiscal year 2025 budget ordinance in accordance with KRS 424.240. The ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon second reading and adoption and publication by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Sharon, thank you. May I say, you always rise to the occasion. I mean that seriously. It amazes me because I'd still be on that first page in the middle trying to uncross my eyes. Thank you very much for
Thank
that. We have the second reading now of this budget ordinance. This is ordinance 24-11. May we have a motion, please, bring to the floor for discussion, approval, with a vote?
So moved.
Commissioner
Second.
Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Is there any discussion? Mr. City Manager, anything you want to mention at this time? Sharon, anything else that you want to mention regarding?
No, we're good.
All right, all right. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
May, this is an excellent budget. I have to admit that of all that I've seen, you guys did some
Thank you.
fantastic work, especially even coming out of COVID and all this. I'm gonna do something that I have never done. And when it comes to my vote, I'm gonna, because of the $500,000 that we're sending somewhere else, I can't vote for this budget. So, and I want you to know my reason why, because I think it's very, very, very profitable for the city in this, what you all have done in this budget.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to thank Sharon and your staff. You know, it sounds so easy when you present it to us, but I know that there was so much hard work that went into it, and it's a complicated blend of federal money, state money, and local money, and you do a really good job of delineating all that and making it easy for us to understand. So thank you, and thank your staff.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other discussion? All right, there being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer,
No,
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 24-12, ordinance of the City of Richmond amending the ARPA budget and the capital projects for the City of Richmond for the fiscal year 2024, estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operations of city government. This is also a second reading. Mr. City Manager and Madam Finance Director.
Again, Mayor, board members, I'd like Sharon to read it, and we'll field any questions you have.
All right, thank you.
Whereas a budget proposal has been prepared and delivered to the City Commission, and whereas the City Commission has reviewed the amended budget proposal and necessary modifications have been completed as recommended, now therefore be it ordained by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the amended ARPA fund budget and the Capital Projects Fund for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2023, and ending June the 30th, 2024, is hereby presented as follows. And we're on the last amendment that's highlighted. Our balance forward in the ARPA funds is $5,148,965, which is also the amount available for appropriation. Our total expenditures is $4,414,539, with an expected ending balance as of June the 30th, 2024, of $734,426. In the Capital Projects Fund, our balance forward is $3 million. Our total revenue is $10,658,474, with our total resources available for appropriation of $13,658,474,000. Our appropriations are $8,162,131, with an ending balance as of 6/30 of '24 of $5,000,558,474. $496,343,000. The 2024 amended fiscal year ARPA and capital projects funds budget is hereby approved as submitted. The amounts budgeted above are hereby appropriated to the accounts indicated for the 2024 fiscal year budget. The city clerk is hereby directed to publish a copy of the amended fiscal year 2024 ARPA budget and capital projects budget ordinance in accordance with KRS 424.240. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon second reading and adoption and publication by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. As this is that second reading, may we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor now for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Cole. Mr. City Manager, anything you want to bring? All right. Sharon, anything further about this one? All righty. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. And thanks again
Thank you.
for the additional accounting work necessary for these ARPA funds. But I think we'll all agree that a lot of folks have been helped in a lot of ways
Absolutely.
with the disposition of the ARPA funds, the way it's been done by this. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Ordinance 24-13, ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, amending ordinances number 14-18, 18-07, 21-07, and 22-13 to modify the city's existing grades and salary ranges chart. This, again, is a second reading, and we will vote. Mr. City Manager, please.
Whereas the Board of Commissioners for the City of Richmond, Kentucky established a personnel grades and classifications guide and a grades and salary ranges chart, thereby bringing the city into compliance with the requirements of KRS 83A.72 that the city enact a personnel and pay classification plan. Whereas the grade and salary range charts adopted by ordinances 14-18, 18-7, 21-7, and 22-23 established a pay range for the city's existing positions, and whereas by reason of cost of living adjustments and salary adjustments to the city's employees which have taken place and which will in the future take place since the adoptions of the original grades and salary ranges charts, the previous chart should be amended so as to provide for higher maximum salaries with existing pay grades. And now therefore be ordained that the grades and salary ranges charts adopted by ordinance 14-18, 18-7, 21-7, and 22-13 be and hereby is wholly repealed, and the grades and salary ranges chart attached in this ordinance and incorporated herein as those set forth in full be and hereby is adopted as the city's effective grades and salary ranges chart. This ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its enactment following the second reading and publication in accordance with the requirements of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, sir. That's ordinance 24-13. Again, this is second reading, and we will vote. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and for approval?
I move.
Commissioner Newby, is there a second? Commissioner Brewer, is there any discussion at this point? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-77, an order of the City of Richmond adopting several job descriptions. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the City of Richmond has adopted job descriptions for the employees, and where after review, it has been determined that these positions need an amended job description and pay scale for better to reflect the job descriptions. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the following job descriptions and pay grade for the City of Richmond is hereby adopted. Building Codes Department, the Building Codes Director, pay grade 7. Codes Enforcement Department, Codes Enforcement Coordinator, pay grade 7. The attached job description shall be made a part of the city's job descriptions and incorporated into their departmental structure. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is Order 24-77. May we have a motion, please, bring to the floor for its discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Is there any discussion?
I had just a couple
Yes.
of small changes that I wanted to suggest for the job descriptions. One of our headings is called Training and Experience, and I'd like to make that Education and Experience so that a person can use their training and their education if they happen to have they're required to have a high school diploma or GED or degree with that. So just a broader heading would be Education and Experience. And then we specify in there that they have to, in both positions, they have to obtain the appropriate state certification to be able to do those jobs. But we need to attach a time frame to that so that they either come in with it, which is wonderful, and if not, that they obtain that within 6 months.
So certification for the Class 3 Building Codes Inspector, and then the
Yes.
certification for the
Yes.
Codes Enforcement Coordinator, we need to put in there preferred, but must be attained within
Yes.
6 months?
Bingo.
Okay,
Perfect, yes.
I got you. Duly noted and considered those changed.
Thank you.
What will we need to do here? Can we make those changes now, Madam Clerk? We can do it
I
now.
think so, yeah.
Rewrite that, or?
I'll
think
just
we can
edit the
vote,
job
can't we?
descriptions with you all's approval with this discussion, if that suits the
We can
board.
approve it then with these changes?
Yes, sir.
If there's no objection, all right, wonderful, all right. Any other discussion?
I would say that with the approval of these positions tonight, they'll be posted tomorrow, and we will run them for 30 days advertising.
Rob,
No, Thursday, I'm sorry, we're off tomorrow. Thank you, Kelly, for Juneteenth.
a question, even with, I think there may be another couple of positions that'll also come along. Some we've already done. In looking over these, can you help me to distinguish between director and coordinator?
Certainly. Building Codes Director is necessary because of the levels of certification needed to inspect buildings. You have a level 1, 2, and 3, and it's pretty rigorous to become a level 3. So it's not something you go to college for, but it's a state building code inspection testing process. And that individual, we feel like, needs to be the director of that department. Codes Enforcement Coordinator, we feel like, can report to my office of the city manager and also building codes. And Codes Enforcement Coordinator will manage the codes enforcement officers, including animal control. So we kind of feel like there's an overlap we can continue with for efficiency between building codes and the city manager's office by just having a codes enforcement coordinator instead of a director. Does that make sense?
Is that a
I
new
hope so.
position for the
It is.
coordinator? Yeah.
That's correct.
Well, Mayor, if you don't mind.
Wait, yeah.
With adding the animal control and the request for 80,000 from the county to the Humane Society, it probably makes sense to put somebody in there that can coordinate all this together. I'm just curious how you would.
The plan is that one of our current codes enforcement officers will become our primary animal control officer. And then that'll leave us with 2 positions open. And one of the 2 positions we hire as a codes enforcement officer will be a backup animal control officer. So the primary will be on call. And then the secondary, if the primary is on vacation or needs a weekend off or what have you, will be on call.
Yes.
We do hope the county will participating in receiving animals with our funding our 25% of the animal shelter.
Yes.
And I feel like in facilitating the building codes meetings, the codes enforcement meetings, planning and zoning meetings, and safety and risk management meetings, that I feel like codes enforcement is something that happens pretty quick in our community with citizens either getting notice to do something or a citation and a fine to correct something. And that's something that a lot of times my office hears on the back end if I'm not in those meetings. So I'll give you an example. Somebody gets a codes enforcement citation for tall grass, they don't understand it. A lot of times they'll call me. So me participating in those meetings and understanding what direction we need to go with those, I think goes a long ways, along with the building codes director. So I think it'll work out well this way.
Who will hear, you mentioned something that made me think of something else. Who will hear if there's an animal control matter? Who will hear first ordinarily? Is it the police department?
It's normally the police department that gets the call, and, unfortunately, we had one Friday night, and Jason Rollins called me Friday night. There was a large pit bull, I believe, that broke loose, broke a lady's leg. Police officers had the animal cornered. Jason was en route to try to apprehend the dog. Unfortunately, the county's response was, and I hate to bring this up, but I think it's necessary. I wasn't planning on it, but since we got to this point, that they were not to come within the city limits and help with any of our animal control. So I would hope that one of our elected officials would
Stop
have
right there, please, sir.
Yeah. And Chief Richardson can attest to
If that
it.
is the case, why are we sending the money?
Well,
Is
that's
that
why we
for
stopped
the
sending it last time. That's why we stopped sending it last time, is because of this very issue. And we talk about working together here, and we make that effort, but when it puts our frontline people and public safety at harm, there shouldn't be any excuse for them not to support us. We've loaned them a fire truck to use. We go 5 miles outside of the city limits to take care of fire calls when they can't respond. And I just don't understand why they didn't want to support us.
Did they end up putting the dog down?
It actually ran off and has not been found. Is that right,
Is that
Chief?
right, it's still gone?
That would take a court order.
Sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Well,
Unfortunately, Tammy's been through it,
You've been through it, and I have
the
too.
worst of it.
Trust me, my only question is, I thought that our collaboration with the county started July 1.
Well, that could be, but I don't think that should matter to me.
It's a very serious problem. I mean,
It
I
is.
live in a neighborhood that has had 2 incidences recently, and it is violent and scary.
Yeah.
You know, again, you may have said it before, but again, I think it needs to be said publicly. I'm insulted as a citizen of Madison County, and I am, that I pay taxes to take care of that in my county taxes.
Right.
Now, you're going to discriminate against me because I live in the city of Richmond and tell me that my taxes you're collecting, but I get nothing for it.
Well, if you-
That's the bottom line.
If you remember, we had an interlocal governmental meeting
Yes,
about
sir.
5 years ago.
I do.
And at the time, the deputy judge executive got up and did a presentation on the Madison County Animal Shelter. And it was clear at that time that their mission, sole mission, was to receive animals and support spade and neutering for animals. And so that's when there was kind of the controversy about not getting support in the city, our participation in the animal shelter, and the board at the time voted not to participate anymore. Since then, this board has decided to participate again, which I think is the right thing to do. But at the same time, for a 911 call to come in and our frontline public safety folks to be in danger and a citizen hurt, and we get the response that from the individual at the animal shelter that they're not to come in the city limits and give us any support is just wrong.
That instruction came
Yeah.
from somewhere.
Yeah, and trust me, I didn't plan on
Let me say
talking about this tonight, but it happened Friday night, and it bothered me all weekend, to be honest with you, and the Chief and I talked about it yesterday and how to address it. Chief Richardson and I feel like, and he's taken the initiative to contact the Humane Society and see if we can't help them in some way and get them positioned where they can receive animals
Yes.
when we get into these problems. Because if we can't count on that service, we've got to have something in place to do it. So,
Thank you.
sorry this topic came up. It's
Yeah,
kind of a
I-
sore
but-
subject for
but
me.
No. You know, the folks need to know. So thank you for being willing. And I don't mind. I don't mind. What were we doing, Lisa?
Well, we got a motion and a second. Are we ready to
That's for
vote?
Order 24-77.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
With the
Yeah.
changes.
Well, that's right, but that's
with the
codes
changes
enforcement.
Codes
that Tammy-
enforcement, yeah,
It
that's
is a
where we
codes
got
enforcement.
the,
Yep, with the changes noted.
Oh, yes, indeed. All right. Is there any further discussion? Order 24-77. We'll call for the previous question. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Chief, and just tell our folks to be safe. Order 24-78. An order of the City of Richmond hiring an employee for the Parks Department. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the Parks Department is in need of a full-time parks laborer one due to an increase in park properties, and whereas the position was advertised and interviews conducted, and whereas the city manager has recommended a hire for this position. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the following individual is hired contingent upon their successful completion of the city's pre-employment requirements as laborer one for the Parks Maintenance Department effective July 8th. Pay grade 2, Jonathan Underwood. He is an at-will employee and will serve a one-year probationary period. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's Order 24-78. May we have a motion, please? Bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole.
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Is there any discussion? Let's see here. This is full-time.
Yep.
All right. No discussion? Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. The agenda calls for an open discussion regarding Kentucky Medical Cannabis Program regulations. I think that's kind of hit the news all around us also. But how do we want to proceed with this, Mr. City Manager, please?
I'd like to give you a brief overview and kind of set the table and let our city attorney jump in with any answers to questions, really. We feel like we need to go ahead and take the initiative to present an ordinance to you all in July. So as you know, medical cannabis was legalized in January. There's 48 licenses for dispensaries for the full state of Kentucky. There's 11 regions that those licenses will be lotteried out to. We feel like we'll get at least one license here in Madison County. And we need to determine where the dispensaries need to go. And more than likely, we would recommend those be put in zone classifications of B2 or B3. Is that correct? So I think we just want to open up the discussion. If you all are comfortable with following the state guidelines for medical cannabis, we would come back to you with an ordinance that basically puts in medical cannabis dispensaries into those zoning classifications of B2 and B3. There is other options. You can vote as a board to not allow it in the city. You can put it to the people to vote for. I did talk to Kenny Barger about if we were to put it on the ballot, when he would need to have notice by, and that he has to have notice by the second Tuesday in August for it to be on the ballot this fall. So our recommendation is to follow the state guidelines and us present an ordinance to you, putting it in the correct zoning classifications. And it also can't be within, correct me if I'm wrong, 1,000 feet of a school or a daycare. Seems like there was one other,
We're
but
only probably gonna get one, aren't we? Maybe, maybe one.
Okay?
This would additionally include zoning for cultivators, processors, and the like. There's about 5 different ones, but dispensary is what would be interacting with the public, so that's what people are most questioning.
Thank you. All right, what thoughts do we have?
Well, I wanted to learn more about it, so I went through that training that Kentucky League of Cities offered. I think it was a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. And they did a really good job of explaining it, and I was impressed by how structured of a program it is and how regulated it is with compliance officers. And, I mean, it's a very structured, detailed program. And like you mentioned, the 4 different levels, with dispensaries obviously being kind of the one you hear most talked about, but the cultivators, the processors, and, the different levels and everything. For me personally, and like I said, I've sat through the training, I've thought a lot about it. For me personally, I feel like the state of Kentucky has approved this, and they've set guidelines for us to follow. So I feel very comfortable myself approving or following, I should say, following the state guidelines and state procedures here in Richmond. I personally think that it's so regulated that, it will be, and obviously it's a new program, and that always creates a little bit of unknown and maybe uneasiness and that kind of thing. But it's very structured, and so to me, we follow the state guidelines and do the best we can with that, and I'm comfortable with the state guidelines.
Just a question that's coming to mind. Mr. Attorney, as our ABC administrator, do you see any relation between the actual administering of something like this as compared with what we're doing with alcoholic beverage control?
Well, it's very similar on the state level. Currently, it could be brought to this board. There's no local licensing. This is purely a state
Okay.
licensing process, though a city could implement such. So here, there would be compliance issues, certainly with zoning. I have no doubt there's going to be codes enforcement things, especially with cultivators, processors, hazardous materials, things like that.
Okay.
But it is very similar on the state level. On the local level, not as much. It's a state-regulated business with the license.
Okay, thank you. What other conversations?
Well, I'm okay with going along with the state guidelines, but also I think we need to educate the public, because, the marijuana, that's, a lot of people aren't aware. I mean, and the phone calls I've gotten today, I got one call that said that, marijuana causes violent behavior. Well, Jack Daniels causes violent behavior. Only thing I've seen anybody attack on marijuana is maybe a bag of Twinkies. But,
Yes, sir.
I'm being serious.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But I think
Everything I know,
education
but
with
you
the
mean like
press
with
and
munchies
everything,
and-
with the press and everything, we can,
Yes, sir.
but they need to be educated, because marijuana is unknown to a lot of people, and it's scary.
And just hearing it.
Yeah, hearing that word.
well, that's a good point, Commissioner Newby. I think it's important to point out that this is medical marijuana, so
Yeah.
it's very regulated. You have to have a doctor's card, and it's distributed in very small quantities. And my understanding is they schedule pickup times for you, so it's not like you go in and you do your shopping and get a bag of it. You set up
I thought
there's a point.
it was set to where you couldn't smoke it, you could vape it, and you could eat it in a,
I think it's edibles only, if I'm not
Edibles.
mistaken.
is it? Am I wrong about the vaping part? or-
I know it's not flower cannabis to be
Yeah.
smoked.
Yeah. So it's very regulated.
Yeah, I just think education along with that.
Yes.
I think that
Yes.
education's very important, and just to reiterate that it's a relationship between the doctor and the patient. I mean, a regular individual without the medical cannabis card can't just walk in and say, I'm here to purchase. There's no such thing as that. It's a relationship between a doctor and a patient, just like a prescription for
Yes.
anything would be.
Yes.
So the doctor decides the dosage, they issue the medical marijuana card, and it's
Yeah.
highly regulated.
Well, don't mess with the state on this. I just think we ought to just follow their guidelines on this.
We can certainly put out some information though, Jim, on,
I think
exactly what it is out to the media so they know, help
Can
it
we do
along
that on
somewhere.
our My Richmond?
Spencer can probably help us out with that, can't you?
Of course.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks, Spencer. Any other discussion? Good show.
So you all are okay with us bringing an ordinance first meeting in July, designating the zoning classifications for dispensaries?
You
Okay.
said B2 and B3. What are those, once again? I know it's
Retail business.
Okay.
There's a variety of them
Okay.
that fall in those
Highway business,
classifications.
B3, yeah.
B3, I believe.
yeah. Okay.
Those are also the zoning classifications for pharmacies fall into that now, so they're thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Any further discussion? This is just discussion. Thank you. I think we're at a good place then. Thank you for the work you've done also to bring us to this point. All right, excuse me, anyone here for public comments tonight?
Come
Chief,
on,
make,
Brooks.
make some public comments. All right, there being none, Mr. City Manager, please.
I just have one item. I want to request that we get two members of this board to sit on interview committees for the Planning and Zoning Director and the Safety and Risk Management Specialist. Those positions have closed. I think we have 7 candidates for Planning and Zoning Director, and I think 20-plus for the Safety and Risk Management Specialist. So Planning and Zoning Board is going to have 2 members on this hiring committee for the Planning and Zoning Director. I would ask that 2 members of this board participate in both of those positions
All
for
right.
hiring.
Thank you, sir. And how would you want that, by volunteering or?
Sure, however you want to do it, Mayor.
and
You want
would
the same-
want-
I'm sorry.
Want that tonight, excuse me, or would you want someone just to come let you know that they're interested? and you
If
could be
somebody's
putting
interested
it-
tonight, we'd like to go ahead and get them nailed down because the Planning and Zoning Director position, we would like to do those interviews July 2nd and 3rd,
Okay,
which would be 2 weeks out from now.
all right, Commissioner Newby?
Are you suggesting the same 2 commissioners for both positions, or just whoever you can get?
Whoever I can get, yeah. Whoever's willing, because I think it's important that you show up for this stuff. I mean, we need to be there.
What are those days again?
It would be Tuesday, July 2nd, and Wednesday, July 3rd. Is that right, Althea? For the Planning and Zoning Director, and then the Safety and Risk Management Specialist, we would probably wait after the 4th of July to do it. The week after the 4th of July.
And I think we had talked about 2 of us serving on there, didn't we?
That's correct.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
just
2
making
of
sure
you.
I was good. Well, I'm perfectly willing to do so, to serve on both of them, or
Okay.
one of them, or whatever's
I'll
appropriate.
take it.
I'll do it.
Sold.
Let me look at my schedule,
Okay,
and I'll let you know, I guess, not tomorrow, Thursday.
That'd be
We would
fine,
say
yeah.
tentatively, because you are interested?
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, sir.
That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. All right,
And that's all I had, Mayor.
all right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Brewer?
I had called Rob earlier to check on some things, and I think he got them done, but I was concerned about the franchise agreement. Can you tell a little bit about picking up the trash, who picks up what, and how that comes about?
We have a franchise agreement ordinance locally. Is there KRS? I think there's KRS as well that requires cities to have a franchise agreement with one vendor to pick up trash. And the reason being is if you had cities that got into having, say, 3 or 4 trash vendors, can you imagine a trash pickup schedule on your block when, you know, everybody on your block had a different vendor, and so you had a trash truck coming down your road every day, pretty much. And those trucks are very hard on roads as well.
Yes.
So we're required to put out an RFP, and we have to do that 18 months ahead of a contract expiring. So if we are to change vendors, they have time to, you know, get all the trucks and cans and everything together. So we're required by KRS and the ordinance to have a franchise agreement with one vendor.
If you don't mind, not tomorrow, since tomorrow's the holiday, but if Thursday, I'll send you this guy's name if you can relay that information.
I'd be more than happy to talk to him about
And I will
it.
too, but
I have to explain that a lot, so that's okay.
that's all.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Newby?
I don't have anything, Mayor.
All righty, Commissioner Cole?
Yes, I wanted to get an update on our baby box that we're installing. As I was getting ready to leave to come here tonight, a baby was surrendered in Mount Sterling. And I think Winchester did their baby box blessing, I think, yesterday. So anyway, I know we're really
Yeah.
close, but I just want to get an update.
We are, the communication piece of it is finally online, and Chief and I were talking about it today. He's coordinating with the Safe Haven Baby Box Company. They have to come and do a complete inspection, make sure it works, and then the pregnancy center will schedule a opening. So I'd like to give you a timeline for that, but I don't know how quick Safe Haven Baby Box will get down to do their inspection. But we're real close. It's done and ready to go. We just have to jump the final 2 hurdles and it'll be open.
And we're close on the traffic light, but can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, if you get a chance, there's a street light that got installed in a turn lane. And it's a darndest saying, if you look at it, coming out of Duckhorn, there's a right-hand turn lane, and Kentucky Utilities installed a street light right in the middle of the turn.
Saw it.
So I'm waiting for Kentucky Utilities to move the street light, and once that happens, we can notify District 7, the Transportation Cabinet, that the light has to flash for a week, and then it'll go live with the traffic control. So I'd like to have a date for you on that too, but I've been promising that project for a year now. It's getting close, I promise.
Several additional lanes and,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's going to be a lot nicer.
I don't know how they installed that that street light in a turn lane. It's, Scott Althauser sent me a picture of it the day it happened. He goes, I couldn't believe it.
All right.
That's all I have.
We're further ahead, though.
Yeah,
We'll
it
take
happens.
Just a couple of quick things. One, today is, and I'm assuming, does anybody know if Tasty Tuesdays is operating today?
Yeah, they are.
I think so.
Okay, I
It was
thought maybe
going
they
strong
might.
when I drove by.
Okay, good. And let me mention that the event at Whitehall this past Saturday for Juneteenth, that 5K run, was an outstanding event, and of course benefits 3 charities in our community, but was just well received. But Chief, one of the things I want, Chief Richardson, one thing I wanted to mention, the officer, young fellow, looked like one of my high school students. Wonderful young man. Just certainly a model of what we'd want for community-type policing, mingled well with the people. Folks liked him and really appreciated his presence in that place on Saturday. But it was an outstanding event, and lots of folks were there. I told folks I didn't do 5K, Lisa, but I did K.
That's good.
And just so that I could say that I did participate, but that's more than I've done seriously in quite some time. There's some things I'm concerned about.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I forgot to mention some cooling locations, station
Thank you,
locations.
yes.
And Kelly's been working hard on this, and I meant to bring it up earlier, but there's several places that are open to seek shelter from the heat. Spark Ministries at 234 East Main Street is
Yes.
open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 p.m. New Vista's Drop-In Center at 403 Gibson Lane is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to noon, and then from 1 to 4. And then the Madison Homeless Shelter is open as well. So
Outstanding.
there is some places to go if you need to get out of the heat and it's hot.
Thank you, sir. Any other matters?
No, sir.
Have it. All hearts and minds are clear. We'll entertain a motion then to adjourn.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you very much, and thanks to all of you for being here tonight.